All right, so moving on, a group of hackers on steroids, which is a very weird way to describe a hacker group, gained access to a large data set belonging to Epik, which is the web host of a lot of websites that are not able to be hosted on other platforms like GoDaddy and other places because they're controversial, violate their terms of service, or are just awful. They've This web company tends to host extremists and like other people that are driven off of the regular internet because of the stuff that they post on their websites. So famously, this is the web host of the recent Texas abortion snitch website, I believe is the way it was being described, where you can sign up to basically tattle on someone you suspect of having or helping to have an abortion. Now, this is its own thing, but this website was basically kicked off of GoDaddy. It was kicked off of another web host and finally ended up on Epik right around the time that it was attacked. Now, these hackers on steroids, got to be accurate here.
Wow.
Because there's quotes around
Can't
it.
misconstrue it.
Yeah.
Like that.
Now, these hackers on steroids really, really took a run at this web host. And the data that was collected from it is pretty substantial. So I took a look at the breach myself, and there's two different versions of this breach. There's a breach that's over 100 gigabytes, and then there's a more compressed, scaled down breach that's been organized by a group called Distributed Denial of Secrets. So looking at the actual data that was breached here, there's a lot of stuff that's problematic. We've got emails, we've got all sorts of other stuff that a company really would not want out there. They have SQL servers, they have so they have passwords for all of their customers who are using their service, which are, how do I say this? They are not using the best password protection. The passwords are not in plain text, but they are just MD5 hashed.
Oh, terrible.
So using hashed passwords that do not have a salt is a terrible security practice that I thought went away a long time ago. And for this reason and others, the company is not acknowledging the data breach. So they're just like, that's not us. That's not us. Don't worry about that. That's not us. But based on the amount of data here, it certainly looks as though something happened. So this is really interesting because the data was just released online for free a couple days ago. So if you're a security researcher, or if you're press, or if you're someone who's following this story, there's lots of different ways to get your hands on it because it's it's out there and it's now become part of public record. So data breaches are fascinating, and in this case, there was some additional forensics showing what the hackers were looking for. So you can see like their SQL queries, for example, and they went straight for credentials. Like they were going after SSH keys, after credentials. They really took advantage of how poorly this organization managed their data to go straight after the stuff that would be most valuable. And they proceeded to take, in a lot of cases, the hacker's actual target was the websites, or were the websites that were being hosted by Epik. So by going after Epik in order to attack their customers, what would you call this sort of attack?
I don't know, but it's pretty targeted.
Supply chain. So a supply chain attack means that rather than go after your actual target, you're going to go after something that they use. So like the SolarWinds attack was a really good example of that, where rather than go after all these really big businesses that were super important, they went after like a management platform that they were all using and managed to use that breach to sneak something into all their customers. So in this case, it looks as though the hackers were able to gain access to a lot of stuff. They were able to gain access to, again, credentials, SSH keys. They were able to gain access to VPN credentials. So if any customers use this to set up their own VPNs, well, these hackers have access to your VPN credentials and configurations. So there was a lot of data here that was super, super damaging to the customers here. And by not acknowledging the data breach, in some ways, this company kind of seems like they're making it worse. So now the customers of this provider basically need to worry about their credentials just being out there on the internet, as well as possibly private correspondence and other sorts of data. So this is not a ransomware attack. This is a Hacktivism style attack, where this hacktivist group has gone after this business for doing unfavorable things, like hosting extremist platforms and otherwise giving a home to, well, some might say, some of the worst voices on the internet. So this is more, or it seems to be anyway, more of an activism like related attack rather than an exploitation attempt, because as far as I know, there have been no demands. And Official anonymous, not to be confused with those fake anonymous official.
Wait, that's so dumb.
One goes one way, one goes the other. Got to keep it straight. They have a branding problem. I'm just saying. But anonymous official is claiming responsibility for this, and they really just kind of go off on them, and they're like, these guys suck. We don't like them. They suck. They got what they deserved. Support your starving hacktivists, and they may bless you in turn. So yeah, I mean, it seems as though hacktivism is still alive and well, and the kind of things that these people are focusing on, again, is going after platforms that are hosting famously controversial websites that are on the absolute fringe of what's usually even legally allowed, but sometimes just things that cannot be hosted anywhere else end up on these sorts of providers, and then are targets for hacktivists, because often these hosting providers maybe don't do the best job of securing their stuff. And because they make themselves big, fat targets by hosting these very attention-grabbing customers, it makes sense that over time, we're going to start seeing more attacks like this as these attacks grab the news and get lots of attention. So that's all we have time for this week. Thank you, as always, to Zam for providing us with some of this news to go over. If you want to check out more great streams, make sure to take a look at our YouTube channel, where if you post a question for our Q&A stream, you could win a $100 Hack5 gift card, just like our viewer Liz did last week, which I believe she used to go and buy herself a Wi-Fi pineapple.
Bunny.
What?
Bash Bunny.
Bash Bunny. I lied. A Bash Bunny, which is also great. So if you want to buy your own Hack5 product, for free, then make sure to go on over to the SecurityFWD, that's SecurityFWD YouTube channel, and leave us a question for our Q&A stream. And if we pick it, then you will automatically win a Hack5 gift card. So thank you very much to everyone who participates with each stream. We really love answering your questions and just talking to you every week. We will see you next week. Have a good weekend. Bye.